But it is also, again, very symbolic of like how much this world, if you are rich and powerful and a man, you're probably just going to win, is again reflected back at us. So yeah.
Shall we, under the duvet, shall we talk about...
Did you know my kryptonite is awkward men?
Why is that? Is it guilt?
Should we talk about some other horrible, horrible government bureaucrats who are fucking the country over?
Yes, please. Oh, fuck, yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Ask yourself, what is the point of saying that?
Not in this economy.
Try harder, be better.
I haven't yet watched Fight Club. So obviously everybody remembers the Bill Cosby conviction because it literally just happened. And, I think that it's fair to say that the Bill Cosby conviction, or the whole Bill Cosby case in and of itself, was really, apart from Harvey Weinstein, the real like keystone of the Me Too movement. It felt like, yes, finally, this man who everybody thought was such a great like granddad figure is being taken down based on what he's done. And it felt like a real pivotal moment for a lot of people in Hollywood and also the wider world, because, Bill Cosby, he had a universal appeal. My parents used to watch Bill Cosby, and we were not living in America. So definitely a big name to go down. I would argue possibly out in the outside world bigger than Harvey Weinstein, because like, I don't know if I knew who Harvey Weinstein was.
No, I mean, you wouldn't be able to pick him out of a crowd if you didn't know intimately Hollywood producers. But Bill Cosby was on every TV screen in the world.
Exactly. So I think arguably more impactful in the wider world. So basically, you guys will have obviously seen the horrendous news that although he was convicted, rightly so, of sexual assaults, that he has now been freed. And he is now a free man as of like literally, I don't even know, like 10 days ago or something, very, very recently. And I know a lot of people were like, what the fuck was going on with that? A lot of people were very angry with the prosecutor about this kind of thing. It felt like a fuck up. I mean, it's really complicated because on one hand, so basically what my understanding of what happened is, and this is a very, very quick rundown. There are great articles that I will link below that will give you a much deeper dive into what specifically happened. But essentially, Bill Cosby was obviously, various women came out to say that he had sexually assaulted them. And what happened is in 2005, a woman named Andrea Constant came forward and said that she had been sexually assaulted by Bill Cosby. And at that point, the prosecutor who was leading on the case, a man named Bruce Castor, decided that he wasn't going to seek criminal charges against Bill Cosby. I suspect what happened here is that in a criminal court of law, in a criminal case in a court of law, the standards for prosecution are very, very high. And in historical sex abuse cases, the evidence that can be presented, there's no forensics, there's no rape kit that can be done. Witnesses, we're talking, it's been decades in a lot of cases. This isn't me invalidating any of these claims. This is me saying it from the perspective of a criminal court. They are going to say all of these things are lacking. It's going to be very difficult to prove. We've seen that time and time again, that this has been the case. So Bruce Castor, the prosecutor at the time, he has to make a decision. Do we go to criminal court and see it possibly fall apart, or do we do something else? So Bruce Castor decided that he didn't think that Andrea Constant on her own would be a credible enough witness to get a conviction against someone like Bill Cosby. I can't really argue with that. I think one woman on her own with nothing else is going to be he said, she said, and it's probably not going to get a conviction. So what he decided instead was, I will get Bill Cosby to agree to give a deposition where he incriminates. So if for those of you who know, obviously the Fifth Amendment in the US is when you plead the Fifth, it is to not self-incriminate. So you have the right to not do anything that is going to self-incriminate or say anything. Bill Cosby waived that right and agreed to give this deposition where he admitted to everything that was being done. The condition was that he would give this deposition so that it could be used in a civil case against him on behalf of Andrea, and that this prosecutor promised that Bill Cosby would not be prosecuted at criminal court. So as we know from previous cases, particularly when we covered the Rebecca Zahau case, and I'm sure you guys also all know this, that the basis for to be found guilty at civil trial is much, much lower. The standard is of evidence needed is much, much lower. But they had fucking bombshell evidence because they had a fucking deposition where Bill Cosby admits to everything. So Bruce Castor is like, right, we're going to use this. I'm going to take him to civil court. I will get Andrea Constant, the woman who is making these accusations, at least a monetary cash settlement from this incredibly rich man. And this is the best that I can do. He makes that decision and he runs with it. The deposition obviously reveals a huge amount of evidence where Bill Cosby is now admitting to these things. I think it's very important to remember that the justice system in most countries are not set up to discover the truth. They are set up to on what's provable. You know, they're not set up to necessarily go on a truth-finding mission. They're set about to go out on a what can be provable mission, and then based off of that. So in this case, the deposition revealed all of this information. So then what happened is afterwards, another prosecutor takes the case. And, you know, in this deposition, Cosby was recorded admitting acquiring drugs to give to women, date raping them, essentially. So then another prosecutor picks up the case later and decides, no, fuck this. We're going to prosecute him. We're going to prosecute him criminally. They prosecute Bill Cosby, and he's sentenced to jail time. Now, what's happened is obviously this has gone to appeal, and the judge overseeing the appeal has said that the agreement that Bill Cosby had with the original prosecutor that said we give the deposition and we will not prosecute you at criminal trial still should have held with the second prosecutor, and Bill Cosby therefore never should have been prosecuted criminally because that was the agreement made. Now, I know that people are very angry about this. Of course, we have every right to be. I would say one point, though, that it is very important, I do believe, in any justice system, that prosecutors have a lot of power. And Bill Cosby is not a disenfranchised man. But if this were a case with a disenfranchised person or an innocent person or anything, if a prosecutor says that they are going to do something, makes promises, makes pledges, makes contractual agreements with a defendant, I do also believe that they should be upheld, because we can't have a system where prosecutors say, you tell me this and I won't prosecute you. Ha, joke's on you. I'm actually going to prosecute you now. I don't believe that we should have a system that allows prosecutors to renege on their word. That isn't really what happened here because it was a different prosecutor. I understand why this decision has been made. I'm not happy about it. Do I think Bill Cosby should be in jail? Absolutely, all day long. Yes, of course he should. I also think it's tricky ground because what precedent does it set? I don't know. I'm not a legal expert, but that is basically my understanding of the Bill Cosby case. And it isn't as black and white as maybe we would like it to be. But it is also, again, very symbolic of like how much this world, if you are rich and powerful and a man, you're probably just going to win, is again reflected back at us. So yeah.
It's
More
depression.
depression.
Such a tricky, depression. Because you're right. Like there can't be a justice system where prosecutors can just fucking say whatever they want and then not say it. You know,
Yeah,
that's miserable.